I really, truly wish there was a way you could multi-stream with your phone and it wasn't a pain in the ass. I mean, I have multiple phones. I could literally do that, but that's a pain in the ass. Who wants to do that? Okay. So, why is this being weird? There you go. Hello. How are you doing, whoever is watching? Hello. Okay, so I'm going to get into this. Unless something has dramatically changed that I don't know about, Donald Trump has yet to invoke the Insurrection Act. Hey, how are you doing, Richard? And I obviously think that he needs to invoke the Insurrection Act. Now, I myself am trying to learn as much as possible. I mean, what else is a male to do but learn things and better themselves, and then just try to share that information. I did not know that the Insurrection Act was first enacted in 1807, and there was 15 presidents that have used it throughout history. So we have Thomas Jefferson in April of 1808. We have um, Andrew Jackson in 1831 and 1834. Abraham Lincoln, obviously, during the Civil War. Uh, you have Ulysses S. Grant. Of course, I'm like right on a train track. That's annoying. That's really annoying, actually. Ulysses S. Grant used it probably the most. Hold on, I'm just going to mute that. Nope, it's still going, so. All right, it's going away, but it's more tolerable. As I was saying, Ulysses S. Grant. Um, let's see, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. It looks like 6 times Ulysses S. Grant used the Insurrection Act. Rutherford B. Hayes used it twice. Chester Arthur, I didn't even know that was a president, to be honest. I've never even heard that name. I thought I was good with the presidents. Chester Arthur, 1882. Okay. Grover Cleveland twice. Woodrow Wilson once. Warren G. Harding once. Douglas MacArthur illegally used it. He is the caveat in 1932. He was if you don't know who MacArthur is, God help you, but he was an Army general, and he illegally invokes the Insurrection Act against World War I veterans marching for military bonuses in Washington, D.C. Now, and this information is it's just literally Wikipedia, so super biased, and even they're going to give me that information. Roosevelt used it once, 1943. Dwight D. Eisenhower, 1957. Kennedy, oh, here we go. One, two, three, four. Yeah, 3 times. I'm sorry. Kennedy used it 3 times, and these were obviously having to do with the race riots and integrating schools. And then Lyndon B. Johnson used it 3 times, basically the same thing. Yeah, fighting segregation. And obviously, I mean, it keeps going on and on, right? There's a couple more. Reagan used it in 87, and Bush, I didn't know Bush used it. He used it, Bush Sr. in 89, and then in 1992. So the point is, 15 different presidents have used this multiple times. Multiple times. This is nothing new, and it is used for times of mass civil unrest that threatens the sovereignty of this nation. So I'm going to read what the Insurrection Act is, because a lot of people don't understand that the importance of this. And I did see your message that he threatened it. I saw that he threatened it last night, I believe. A lot of people think that this is just like well, it's just some old law. You hear a lot of leftists and Democrats say that, and it's like, well, everything's an old law except unless it was just made 5 years ago. That doesn't mean anything. It's still an active law on the books, and it is within the president's right to use it. So the Insurrection Act of 1807 is a federal law that empowers the President of the United States to nationally deploy the U.S. military and to federalize National Guard units of the individual states in specific circumstances, such as suppression of civil disorder, insurrection, armed rebellion, and this would be against the federal government and the U.S. Federal government of the U.S. Obviously, it basically suspends posse comitatus. Basically suspends posse comitatus, which obviously, that if you don't know what that is, that's 1878. That limits the president deploying the U.S. military to enforce civil law or criminal law within the United States. Again, it's a temporary measure. Um, I don't know how long they could actually use it for. But the point is, we're meeting all of these credentials. We're meeting all of the thresholds for him to be able to invoke the Insurrection Act. Okay, it's just really obvious at this point. Mm. After invoking and before exercising the powers authorized under the Insurrection Act, it requires the publication of a presidential proclamation whereby the U.S. presidential formally orders the dispersion of peoples committing that civil unrest or armed rebellion. And then the Defense Department guidelines define homeland defense as a constitutional exception to the restrictions of Posse Comitatus Act. Therefore, the political, military, and police measures necessary to protect national security from external threats are exemptions to the restrictions of the act. I mean, that should be obvious. You would think that would be obvious, but purpose and content. Well, you already know that. So this is the point here. Absolutely, he needs to invoke the Insurrection Act. We've done it multiple times in history. Like I said, 15 different presidents used it multiple times, and we're past that threshold. Obviously, most recently in history, that was um, the most similar to what we're facing today. That would be during the Civil Rights era. Okay, it became federal law that you have to integrate the schools. You can't do segregation, separate it, be equal, and all that shit is over and done with. Um, and governors said no, we're not doing that. So that's what we're facing right now in Minnesota. Obviously, there's several other states, New York, California, but Trump should rightfully focus on Minnesota and specifically the city of Minneapolis. Okay. Okay. Why do I think that? Well, here's the thing. If you disperse all of your efforts trying to suppress a rebellion like this, right now it's kind of like low level beginning stages. It's not at a like shooting war level. It's not like the governor or a mayor is actively using the police force or National Guard to fight federal troops. We're not at that level. That would be Civil War territory. But this is a civil unrest situation where the mayor of Minneapolis and the governor of Minnesota are both encouraging the public to harass ICE, to follow ICE around. Tim Wall said, you bust out your phones and record them whenever you see them in your communities, uh, and document. They've increasingly used rhetoric like it's time to start considering Second Amendment options. Like they're using this veiled language, stuff that we've all seen. Maybe some of us have even used it ourselves in the past. The difference here is this is the government is fighting the government. They're against the government. This is a problem on so many different levels. Okay, if you personally if you personally do not like what ICE is doing, there is a really simple remedy for this. The remedy is you vote. You vote for your congressman, you vote for your senator, and you vote for the president. So that's really simple. And oh wait, we just did that. We just had an election. Oh, that's right. And the people voted, both the popular vote and the electoral college vote, both said that Donald Trump was the president. You don't have to like that. Okay, just understand that you don't have to like that that happened. The fact of the matter is that it did happen. So for some reason, they don't like the results of the election, and now they're trying to violate the entire point of having a democratic process, and say fuck the election results. I'm going to go out and I'm going to fight against the government because I don't like what they're doing. Never mind the fact you already voted and then you lost your vote. You lost the vote, and now they're going out in the streets and they are protesting. Some of them are illegally protesting. Some of them are rioting. Some of them are harassing federal law enforcement. Some of them are ramming their vehicles at federal law enforcement. Some of them are physically assaulting the law enforcement. They are also now, they chased out federal agents the other night. And I didn't have a chance to fully look on it, but I saw that it was circulating that these were FBI vehicles. I can't confirm that. I know that they were federal law enforcement vehicles, like DHS agents of some kind. Um, I don't know what agency they were with, and they broke into the vehicles and they stole rifles, they stole handguns, they stole ammunition, and probably most importantly, they stole confidential, if not classified, documents out of the vehicle because they ran the federal agents out with the violent mob, and they had to abandon their vehicles, which had sensitive data in it. This is well beyond insurrection level. This is civil unrest, civil unrest on top of insurrection. The insurrection part, I think, is the part that a lot of people are debating right now. I think it's very clear and obvious that the mayor of Minneapolis and the governor of Minnesota both are actively encouraging civil unrest and to defy the federal government, which by definition that's sedition. Okay, sedition is basically encouraging rebellion. This is a problem. This is a problem. Now, again, I I began as a libertarian, and I have slowly over the years migrated. I'm still kind of center. I'm like center right now, but I have migrated away from libertarianism because we, libertarianism is a luxury political opinion. When things are really, really good, you can afford that. You can do that. That's fine. But when situations are starting, like the political climate is way too hot right now, you can't do that. We have to have more authoritarian counters to the authoritarian left that's trying to take over everything. And unfortunately, this is the reality that we're living in. Um, if we do the hey man, live and let live, they're going to take over everything. We can't do that. We can't do that. So, yeah, I mean, with the mayor saying what he's been saying, mayor of Minneapolis, yeah, I openly say he needs to be arrested. You have to arrest these people. I don't care that he's a sitting mayor. Arrest him. It's openly seditious. He is encouraging the public, the Democrat voters, as well as the community members. They use these weird veiled language that it's really obvious when you think about it. They won't say citizens because they are not talking about just citizens. They're talking about the criminal aliens, the illegal aliens that they're encouraging to come live into their city and state. Excuse me. They're talking about the Somalis and all the other communities that they've brought in and are harboring under their sanctuary city and sanctuary state laws. So they're encouraging these people to cause problems. Now, some of them are saying, we don't want, don't be violent, but in the same breath, they're saying don't be violent, yet they're encouraging people to consider Second Amendment options. It's like you can't have it both ways, man. Like you are the mayor of a city is one thing. I can kind of, you're a mayor of a city. It's not nearly the same level of importance as the a governor of a state. But when the governor of the state is saying stuff like that against the federal government and using language saying, "We've never been at war with the federal government before," it's obvious what you're doing here, and you have to lock him up. You have to lock up Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, and you have to lock up Jacob Frey. Jacob Frey, the mayor of Minneapolis. You got to lock him up for sedition. Yeah, just sedition. They haven't been actively fighting the government, so it wouldn't be insurrection, but they're encouraging insurrection, which would be sedition. Now, where it gets really interesting is if they knowingly, this is the key factor here. If they are knowingly working with and aiding uh, foreigners, foreign nationals, the illegal aliens in that state, in that city, to encourage them to do stuff, then we can start talking about treason charges. Then we can start talking about treason. So, do I think treason is really going to stick in a court of law right now? I don't think we're there yet. No. Sedition, yes, absolutely. I think we can make that stick. And the longer Trump does nothing, the weaker he becomes. Again, you don't have to like Trump. You don't have to be a Republican. You don't have to be on the right. Fact of the matter is, when you're analyzing this situation, the longer Trump does nothing, the more he looks like a bitch. It's fact of the matter. It's just truth. He looks really weak when he just talks shit. He'll tweet his ass off like he's me. I tweet my ass off and talk shit online, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm a nobody. You're the fucking president. Do something about it. It's like he forgot he's in the Oval Office. Dude, you're the president. It's like, somebody should do something. You. You're arguably the most powerful person on this planet. You flex this power internationally all the time. You're cussing out international leaders on live TV. You fussed out Zelensky on live TV in front of the whole world. You snatched up a head of state in front of the whole world. You can't even deal with this domestically. It's like, okay, listen. President Trump, you are the president of the United States. You must invoke the Insurrection Act. There's nothing to talk about or discuss anymore. This is an open civil unrest in which the local government, the city, county, state, will not intervene and will not stop these people from rioting and disrupting lawful federal duties and operations. You have to invoke the Insurrection Act, federalize the National Guard, and restore order to the city and state. It's really that easy. And again, you lock up the mayor and the governor for sedition. If you can successfully pull that off, it's a wrap. It's hell to pay for the rest of the states. Now, obviously, you're going to have more pushback in New York and California. Those are the big ones you gotta worry about. But any of the smaller states who try to do this sort of nonsense, they know they're not going to get away with it, and that Trump absolutely could, use the Insurrection Act to stamp this out real quick. Um, Again, this is just one of these things where it should be so painfully obvious. We don't have to live like this. We absolutely do not have to live like this. We shouldn't have to tolerate having all of these illegal immigrants in our country that we don't want here. Okay, we voted for them to go home, and then we have a violent political faction who is fighting against the will of the people. That's exactly what happened. The will of the people. We voted. All during Biden and stuff, they were saying that MAGA types and Republicans, they're against a democracy, against our democracy. They're a threat to our democracy. Well, now we're in a new situation where I'm sorry, one second. One second. Make sure that's charging. Kind of important. Okay. So, as I was saying, I lost my train of thought. Okay, I was talking about the will of the people, and we all voted for this, right? Well, a vote was had. We, you can't have it both ways, right? So it's either we are a democracy, which we're a constitutional republic, but whatever. We have a democratic process in which we elect our leaders, and if one political faction is just going to completely disregard the election results, then what are we doing here? You don't actually want democracy. This is what you're telling everybody. You're telling everybody in your community, your friends, your family, and the world that you don't actually want democracy. What you want is just power. You want to be in control, is what that is. When you lose fair and square, you're mad about it and you're rioting in the streets and you're actively fighting against longstanding law. Do not forget and do not let Democrats lie to you and leftists lie to you to make it seem like Trump just magically decided to now we have immigration laws. No, these have been long established laws that were voted on 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago. My grandparents voted for this stuff to be put in here. None of this is new. So why all of a sudden, now in 2026, are we rioting and obstructing law enforcement, federal law enforcement, from enforcing immigration? What is the problem? Why are they doing this? Why now? I mean, there's obviously it's pretty obvious. Most of them are just not thinking. They can't think clearly. They're not. This is like the zombification of liberals, of leftists, of Democrats. They are a zombie horde. They they don't understand higher orders of thinking. Um, and that's not trying to be rude or divisive or anything like that. It's just at a certain point you look at this stuff and you say, listen, what color is the sky most of the time? Most of us are going to say blue. Well, actually, and they're doing the actually thing. It's like, no, no. Our eyes perceive the sky to be blue most of the time. What color is the grass most of the time? Well, the grass is actually, it could actually be this. It's like, that's not what I asked you. Most of us know that the grass is green. When you start trying to have these basic logical arguments with Democrats, generally on the left, 10, 20 years ago, you could have that conversation and you would have an honest conversation with people. Now we've gotten to this point. I don't know why, for some reason. I mean, we can talk about why, but it takes hours to explain what happened, how we went from rational people to now when you say the sky is blue and the grass is green, they just start screeching, "What? You're a racist. You're not." And you're like, "Whoa, the fuck are you talking about?" Um, Hell, actually, I remember 8 years ago you were saying the same thing I was. What changed? And then they'll give you some long drawn out. Well, back then I didn't know the oppression of XYZ, whatever group of people, and you're like, okay, listen, they don't want to listen. They won't listen. Their entire political ideology is based on hyper emotion, empathy. It's super feminized. There is no the masculinity has been drained out of the Democrat Party, and I know that sounds really offensive, but I'm not trying to be funny. I'm being serious here. If you look at their leadership and their actions and their talking points, they come from a hyper feminized point of view. You can think about this and break this down in so many different ways. Trying to That's like annoying seeing that on the screen. That's why I'm trying to like block it. It's not really going to work, is it? Anyway, without trying to be like super offensive, I mean, you can look and see what hyper feminist policies do, like political policies do. They don't work. Um, Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, I guess we would all be like lovey-dovey and everything's great and kumbaya, but that's not reality. The reality is that people are nasty sometimes. People are mean. People will take advantage. Sociopaths exist. Psychopaths exist. Evil people exist in this world. Um, Criminals in general. And the entire point of a government is to protect the people. It doesn't matter. The smallest form of government is a family unit. Okay. Whoever the head of household is, you traditionally it'd be the man and then the wife, and that's it. And then you have multiple kids, 3 kids plus, the eldest son, and then it's a hierarchy. And then obviously you have your community, your immediate community, and then it would be your town, city, whatever, and then the county, and then the state, and then the country, the nation. Okay, obviously, this is obvious stuff, basic stuff. But notice the difference between a feminized family or a feminized family structure versus a masculinized family structure. What does that mean? It's really obvious. Watch a look at a family where the wife, the female, is in charge of the family. Then look at the family where a man, the husband or whatever, is in charge of the family, and look at the dynamics. Notice the difference. Again, this is just really basic stuff, but a lot of people they just completely forgotten what it was like in the 90s and the 80s, and if you're older, I'm 39, so obviously I don't know past that, but just reflect back just 10 years ago and you can see a stark difference between everything. Everything. In those 10 short years, we have completely lost our minds. Particularly Democrats, left wingers, completely lost their minds. And we're facing this situation where if Trump does not invoke the Insurrection Act, it's just going to continue to escalate. It's going to continue to get worse. It's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse until up to and including you're going to have a full rebellion. You're going to have like civil war. Okay. Um, I've really been trying to think deeply on this and figure out, is the Civil War still like really imminent? Um, is that something even worth talking about? as far as like trying to prevent it, I don't know anymore. I really don't. I know that Trump has way more power than he thinks he does as a president. And his problem is all up here, it's all in his mind. Trump thinks with optics. Everything is optics with Trump. If he stopped caring what everyone thought about him and about his quote unquote legacy, he would probably be the best president in our history, in modern history. Let's say the last 50 years. He could easily do that. Instead, Trump is, again, hyper fixated on his personal image, his narcissist. He's a narcissist. Oh, they don't like me. And, like, why are you still doing interviews with CNN? Why are you letting CNN ask you questions? Any of them? Why are you letting them ask you these dumbass questions, these combative questions? Now, obviously, I think there needs to be checks and balances. And one of the primary purpose of a media, of news media, is to be the fourth estate. You're supposed to be the fourth branch of government, the ones keeping checks and balances on all the other three branches and reporting back to the public. That's what news is supposed to do. But instead, what they've done is they've been infiltrated by Democrats. So I remember in my lifetime, again, this was 15 years ago at this point, you actually had as close to unbiased news as possible. You had news that was fact based. Um, this whole news commentary thing didn't really exist. It was kind of, that was for talk radio and that kind of thing. It was for news articles, for I wouldn't even call it news articles. They were opinion articles and stuff like that. But actual news reports, you couldn't put your political opinion in it because nobody would read it. It's like, okay, well, that's a political opinion, that's not news. Completely 180 of what it is today. Completely different. So again, there's just a lot going on. All of this stuff is happening. This just didn't just start yesterday. I've been talking about this for years, warning about all of this stuff. It's only going to get worse because of XYZ. Again, this isn't new. Okay, all of this could have been prevented back 10 years ago when I was talking about it. Back way before 10 years ago when I was talking about stuff that I was noticing that wasn't right. Uh, and again, it's like all of us that have been politically active have been warning about stuff for a very long time. And it's not just the Democrats. That's a more recent thing. Back then, it was both parties were completely deranged and suck. Now it's, remember when it was the Democrats and Republicans are two different sides of the same coin kind of mentality. It's like they're basically the same, with a slightly different personality and flavor. Now it's like, okay, I don't like Republicans, but Democrats, there's nothing to like. I don't dislike them either. It's just like pure opposition, hate. I hate the Democrat Party. Everything they stand for is just evil. Literally evil. Literally evil. And again, people forget history. Everyone, it's crazy. Oh my gosh, it's so hard to explain this in a simple term. It's like literally 10 years ago. 10 years ago, people were still logical and rational. And, again, we always are going to have disagreements about this. This is what I believe. And you're like, oh, I don't believe that. That's stupid or whatever. Now it is, they literally say we should murder, we can kill our babies. But it's not considered killing because they didn't come out of the womb yet. So literally that divide of being inside the womb is different from it just got born. And we can terminate the pregnancy up to giving birth. So literally the woman is in the hospital, pushing out the baby. Oh, we can terminate it right there. That's what they believe now. That's what they push. you can abort the baby while it's being delivered at 9 months. That's Democrats. Democrats are also saying that children should be allowed to transition from one sex to the other, and that's fine. Give them all the hormones and chemicals. We'll start doing the surgeries pretty much as soon as possible as well. I think the average Democrat is saying like at 13 or something, 13 or 14, they'll start doing surgeries and stuff on them. These are children. 10 years ago, this would just be considered insane, like pure evil insanity. Everything you can, every issue, think of every issue that Democrats believe in. This is the absolute extreme. It's never been like this before. It's never been like this before. They've been completely taken over by an extremist faction. And the average person, the average Democrat, is sucked into this vortex, and they don't understand that they're sucked into this weird ideology and cult. Okay? Now, pushing back, some people will be like, well, the conservatives and the right wing is getting more extreme too. Sure, but it's a reaction to Democrats. This is the problem. You can't get hyper extreme and expect your sister or reflective faction, whatever you want to call it, opposition faction, to not respond to you. Okay? The fact of the matter is that we've allowed for so long just the most basic in injustice, which is abortion. Nobody ever in the human history, except for a couple of psychotic civilizations, thought that killing babies was okay. Okay, there was a proto-Jewish faction of, were they Canaanites? They might have actually been Jewish, but it was like it wasn't the all Jews, obviously, but they would sacrifice, babies to Moloch and stuff like that. You had, oh, what's that other one? Someone in chat help me out. There was like a couple more that would sacrifice babies. It might have been Celtic. That might have been like a really rare Druidic cult where they would sacrifice babies. But obviously, it's not all Celtic people. But the point is, there's multiples all over the planet where they would sacrifice babies. Okay. Oh, and then you had the Spartans. Well, they would leave them out. They would do exposure therapy, expose them to the wild. Vikings would do it too. You would just have to survive. If the baby survived a certain amount of hours or whatever, then they would collect them, and they were like, okay, well, they're worthy of surviving. They're strong. If they just died, well, they died. That's how they thought. We obviously consider that barbaric. Now, the point is, this is just really simple, basic stuff, but for some reason, Democrats and leftists have tricked themselves. They've convinced themselves that ending the life of a fetus in the womb at 9 months is okay. When again, the only separation is a couple of an inch of skin, millimeters, not even a full inch necessarily, of tissue in between it being out in the world to be a baby. Then it's a human when it comes out, but when it's in, it's not. It's like the basic logic is thrown out the window. So there's multiple issues, and then with immigration, again, this isn't controversial at all. No other real civilization that was worth a damn, that lasted, believed in unfettered, unlimited amounts of immigration because it's just obvious. It doesn't work. You can't do it without it even being fully scaled up. We'll scale it down. If your brain is not, you're not capable. You don't have the intellect or the IQ points to fully quantify this in your head and analyze it. Okay, that's fine. I'm not knocking you. Everyone can't be a genius. I'm not a genius. I'm slightly above average. But okay, let's scale it down. So let's just say you have a 3-bedroom house, and you have 4 people that live in it. 2 parents and 2 kids. Okay. You're trying to explain to me or convince me that you would just allow unlimited amounts of people to just move into your house and on your property, or that everybody in the neighborhood should just do that. Well, we got to help them out. Well, somebody's got to do it. Okay, well, we'll move them into your house then. Oh, well, actually, well, that's not what we mean. We're not doing that. There's shelters and we can build housing for them, and we can get them set up over here. And it's like, no, no, we can't. We actually can't. Now, obviously, America is a massive place. Okay? Massive, massive place. We still have a ton of room, technically, land, open land in this country. However, I don't know about you, but I drive around a lot for a living. Okay. Um, I've seen a lot of the country. I used to fly, I don't want to say fairly frequently. I've flown around the country, from coast to coast multiple times. And you can see what's developed and what's not. And recently, in this current job that I'm doing, that's all I do is drive. I'm driving like all over the state. Okay. Like it's really supposed to be a 2 hour radius, but sometimes it's like much more than that. The point is, I'm constantly driving. And even in Pennsylvania, okay, it is very rural, right? Not really. I mean, you have these towns everywhere. There are these towns everywhere that are urbanized towns, and then you have little pockets of farmland here and there. It's just like there is no vast swaths of wilderness like it used to be. Okay, I understand Pennsylvania is one of the original states, one of the colonies, but that's not the point. We don't have unlimited amounts of room. So besides the room, okay, what about resources? Let's say, again, same example as before. You had, a three-bedroom house, and four people in your family live there. Okay, even if you said, you know what, we're gonna try to help you all out. You can't really live in the house, but maybe you can like have tents out in the yard. Okay, well they still got to use your resources. They're using your water, they're using your toilets. They're have to eat, right? They're eating your food. Oh no, somebody stubbed their toe. Now they need medical. All these different things start to stack up. This is just like I was saying it like you're retarded for a purpose, okay? Because a lot of people are just completely unable to form several strings of logic together to actually come up with something in their head, to understand basic concepts that have been historically known for thousands of years. In fact, this is like so easy to just rip apart the leftist and Democrat logic and their policy points. Can you just move to China? Can you just move to Russia? Can you just move to North Korea or name pretty much most countries around the world? There's some kind of a process, right? You can't just show up and just be like, I live here now. So why do these people think that they should be allowed to do this here? They don't. They don't act. Most of these people don't actually believe this. They're sucked up in this frenzy of, it feels good to say that I'm helping. It's that narcissistic empathy. Sympathy is the proper term, but everyone's using the word empathy. So it's narcissistic sympathy. Oh my gosh, look at me. I am such a good person. I'm this great, mightier than thou, hyper effeminized liberal. I help all of these undocumented immigrants. I am helping them. Well, what are you doing to help them? Well, I just talk shit online, and I'll stand out on the street corner because I don't really work. I only work maybe like 15, 20 hours a week. I'm part time and I'm on benefits, but don't worry about that. I'm helping. I'm helping by holding my sign and protesting ICE. It's like, okay, well, that's narcissistic sympathy or empathy, as people are using it. It's all visual. It makes them feel good, like I'm doing something good, but what you're actually doing, you're not actually helping anyone. Give your give yourself a second, especially if you happen to be one of the few left wingers that are actually going to watch this. Do yourself a favor and watch these videos, any of these videos that have gone viral of illegal immigrants or whatever you want to call them, undocumented immigrants. Watch their faces versus the screaming protesters. Look at their faces, the men and the women. Look at the immigrant faces versus the screeching left wingers, those screeching Democrats. I've noticed it. Almost every video I notice, they have this like, it's a mixture of, oh shit, I got caught, and they're just like kind of like sheepish and depressed. And then the other faction or the other ones, they're the women, some of the women, they're crying, oh no, please don't deport me. But they're looking at the screeching Karens and they're just kind of like, what the fuck is going on here? You're not helping them. You're not, though. You're really not. You're not helping them. I just I don't know how you deprogram people to bring them back down into reality. That's not my specialty. That's not something I'm going to focus on. I can't help you with that. I can tell you how we can stop this psychotic violence. It's really easy. You arrest them. You arrest the people that are breaking the law. It's just really simple. You enforce the laws, and magically all these people just go away that are causing all these problems. It's really simple. So let's see. Hmm. See a couple people lurking. Please like and comment. I don't know. Can you hit the hype? Can you hype this? That's some new shit that they added where basically channels under, I want to say under 200,000 subscribers, there's like a hype button. And basically you're like giving me points that boost me in the algorithm or something like that. I'm like, I don't. They're doing too much. As far as, let's look at some updates. There's a lot that's been going on. Fursuit Friday is trending. Oh God, help us. Of course, I clicked on it when I was scrolling. Okay. And of course, it's these slutty furries that it's like they're always in some kind of sexual pose or something. It's like, yes, we understand that this is for sex. Y'all are sex perverts. Anyway, anything, I don't see anything super related to what I'm talking about. Hmm. There's people talking shit about a post I made on a reply to Washington's Ghost. Basically, it was clearly like some conservatives or MAGA types who drove their big ass souped up pickup truck like high speed towards protesters and slammed on the brakes. Um, and then, of course, they swarmed the car and they start beating on it and kicking it and throwing rocks and bricks and whatever at it. Um, and trying to steal their flags and stuff. And there was a couple of them in the back in the bed of the truck. And anyway, it's like it's what did you exactly what you thought was going to happen happened. People think it feels good, like I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do something and I'm going to intimidate these left-wing Democrat protesters and rioters. It's like you're just going to get yourself hurt and your property damaged. Stay away. It's not worth it. Stay away. You have to be a certain kind of person mentally to do like the combat journalism, conflict journalism. I crop dusted that back in my heyday, back in the day when I started on YouTube. And I started with the Ferguson riots and stuff. Of course, I went during the weekend of Resistance, which was in October, whenever the hell Ferguson was happening, and it was like the quietest weekend because the entire world was there. You had international journalists and stuff there. It's like nothing happened. But anyway, you have to be a certain kind of person that goes out into the street to document these violent events because you're putting yourself at risk. Okay, it's if you are not willing for that chance to get injured, for your vehicle to be damaged, possibly even your life taken, do not go. It's not worth it. These people are hyper emotional, okay, and they're dangerous. They're not normal anymore. Normal people do not go out into the street and start literally screeching and blowing whistles and, you know, I'm going to ram my car. And I'm right, like literally psychotic GTA. I'm ramming my vehicle into federal agents' vehicles to stop them from doing their lawful police action. This is where we're at. Do not engage with this. Do not engage with that voluntarily. Make no mistake, if you are minding your own business and like especially if your family's in the car with you, I encourage you to fuck their shit up. Use deadly lethal force to defend yourself and your family. You do what you need to do. But please do not engage with this stuff. It's just like you're just asking for it. Hold on. Let me see if I can. This is going to be really ghetto, but yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's like why would you why like okay, we get it. You're like, you're trying to do a thing, but like, come on, man. Like, you got to be smart about this stuff. You got to be smart about it. You're just putting yourself at risk. What is happening? Let's see. This was on the 15th, so yesterday. Tim Walz welcomed Minnesota high school students for a walkout and protest of ICE at the state capitol building. It quickly devolved and then fighting each other. Oh, and they look very Somali, very obviously Somalis. This is what I'm talking about. Like, at a certain point, man, this is just they're encouraging chaos. Like, why are you gonna call? Why you're the governor of a state, and you're going to encourage high school students, minors, to cut class to go protest federal agents. Federal agents, mind you, they're doing their lawful duty. Now, I'm not. I don't know how many times I'm going to say this, but I feel like I have to keep repeating this. Remember, This is not something that Trump just decided, executive order. I am going to create this new law enforcement action that is not codified in federal law. It's been on the books for like 70 years, probably longer. We have an immigration process. And I was recently in New York when I got married, and we went to Ellis Island. And I was reading all this stuff and, the museum and all that stuff. And, one of the sections they were talking about how they had just mass immigration before because, America was new and it was kind of like, we have infinite land. It's like, come on in, do what you need to do. And then eventually you're like, okay, this is getting a little crazy. Everyone's piling up in the cities. We need you to expand out. And no, they don't want to do that. The immigrants didn't want to expand out. They wanted to be bums basically and live off of the infrastructure that was built by those before them. It's the easy way. Of course, build it first and then, yeah, we'll come over afterwards and profit off of what you built. It's like, I hate that mentality. Um, so, and they were talking about the same issues and shit 100 years ago as we are talking about today as far as immigration. Like, this, nothing has changed. And I'm just like, it's insane that we keep having these conversations. And Democrats, say with a straight face, like, America was built on immigrants and all these like talking points when I'm at Ellis Island and I'm reading the signs and I'm reading the testimonials of people from that era and they were saying the same shit. It's like, no, dude, we don't all agree with this. We don't all agree with you. So it's just fascinating. Richard says there's no need to explain or justify it. Mass illegal immigration is wrong. You don't need to explain why. Yeah, there are slow kids in the back that there's slow kids in the back that might need the explanation, or literally kids. I look at my demographics and my live streams aren't usually very do very well. I'll have maybe 30 views on it, but I'm looking at my view demographics and yes, I have some minors. I have like 15-20% of my views are from minors, so they might need an explanation. The bulk of my views are come from it's like 28 to 50 or something like that. It's like 30 to 50s. So anyway, what else? More tolerable. As I was saying, Ulysses S. Grant. Trying to see if there's anything else. Yeah, I mean, this is the epitome of what we're facing. This is the epitome of what we're facing right now. Glazed over eyes with no original thoughts. The intelligence has left this person's brain. What once was a probably functional member of society has collapsed into this nose ring, these weird oversized glasses, the derpy facial expressions, and the ridiculously colored hair. They don't have a man because men are pigs and misogynist and they're the patriarchy. So they're like pretending to be lesbians or something. It's like they don't like pussy. They try not trying to be completely disgusting, but they're fake lesbians. They're not even like real lesbians, but they're pretending not to like men. Okay. They don't have children. They haven't started families. So again, biologically speaking, you start to your body like wants you to have a family, and you're fighting against it. You could feel that when you're fighting against it. In my 20s, hell, in my early 30s, I remember having baby fever like really bad. I won't get into my attempts, my experience with um, all of that, but let's just say um, there was an attempt made. Okay, the point is, you know, it's a biological urge to have kids. They're fighting that. You know, they're in their 30s and their 40s, and they just have that derpy blank look on their face. And it keeps escalating every year. It keeps escalating and getting worse and worse. Now they have nothing to live for. We have to help these immigrants, these poor immigrants, these poor undocumented immigrants. We have to help them. They're going after the Somalis. Ah, we have to fuck ICE. Ah, and they're crashing their cars into ICE agents. If I would have told you all that this shit would be happening today, 5 years ago, not even not even 10 years ago, 5 years ago, you would have said I was crazy. But I have been warning for years that it will continue to escalate and things will get insane. It will not, the world we will live in will not be what we remember it. So when I reflect back, people get these like insane nostalgia. What's the word? Well, just it is nostalgia, but they get this huge wave of nostalgia when they see things from the early 2000s, from the 90s, from the 80s, because it was a totally different time. People were more free back then. Stranger Things. I've got more Stranger Things stuff coming out. I'm going to be doing super nostalgic because it was a simpler time. That era, it reminds us of our childhood or when we were young adults, and things were just better then. And you look at everything today, and it just feels as gray as the sky is right now. Like what the fuck is this? Like, I understand it's winter, so obviously it's gonna be, it's winter and it just snowed here, but the point is, it doesn't have to be like this, right? Getting older and going through life and going through a different era in your own life, let alone just different eras, and it doesn't have to be always negative and doom and gloom. Like, we don't have to live like this. This is what I'm trying to convince people and try to explain to them. We don't have to tolerate this. Okay. Some people want to get rid of gays and gay marriage, and I'm like, well, good luck with that. I'm going to shoot you because I'm going to defend myself. But here's the thing: we don't have to tolerate this. Okay, we don't have to tolerate this. This is just unacceptable. This is, you lock these people up in mental institutions and insane asylums for a long time. There's like this like talking point, this like meme in conservative or right wing circles where they say bring back asylums, make asylums great again. And I'm like, stop saying that. Stop saying make them great again, or stop saying bring back asylums. No, no, no. You're not going far enough. Excuse me. Let me correct you. Let's not just bring them back. Let's build more, bigger ones. Okay? Because what we're facing today is just completely unacceptable. We have this mental health crisis it's something like 30% of Americans have some kind of mental illness. And you're not going to convince me that it's just like, oh, that's natural. It's like, no, these are the majority of these mental illnesses that we're seeing today, which is primarily on the left, mind you. It's all psychologically induced, like mass psychosis. These aren't just, man, you know what? It's a genetic thing, and you rolled the genetic dice, and you have schizophrenia, no fault of your own. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about these people are batshit insane because they've been driven insane by the culture and the politics that they believe in. It's not. We don't have to live like this. I'm sorry. I'm looking at some psychosis. Oh, this is in the UK, and they're just like unlimited Muslim attacks and praying in the street, and they're just completely taking over. It's a complete shit show. Oh God. Let's see. I don't see anything that's super pertinent. Hmm. I'm sorry. it's it's some scene from a Bollywood movie. They're just completely. They're like live action animes. They're completely detached from any sense of reality. Let's see. Here we go. Here is another clip of schools in Minnesota are encouraging students to miss class and protest ICE. Hey guys, quick announcement before we keep on going. Washington and Como, your vans are here to take you guys back to school right there in front. So you guys should start heading out. That vans are going to leave at 2:40. So Washington and Como, if you guys need to get on those vans, the vans are right there. Just heading out. The first van's there. Is that all she's gonna say? Is talking about if you need to get back to school and get on the buses, you need to get on those vans to start heading there now. Thank you. So I've never. Here's the thing: is I remember being a kid, right? I didn't particularly like school. Really, even since elementary school, it was a prison to me. But I was the nerd, geek type, and I remember they were trying to stage walkouts for something stupid. It wasn't even anything like particularly interesting. And they tried to stage a walkout, and basically, the school administration like made it very clear, if you do that, you're basically going to be suspended and expelled. And they didn't completely shut that shit down. But I was just like, it would affect your grade too. Is basically what they said. Like we basically fail, which I don't know how you can legally do that, but I wanted no interest. Oh, the Mall of America is in Minnesota. Is that correct? Mall of America, and it's okay. I can't play that music, but Mall of America in Minnesota, and it's all immigrants. It looks like they're in a foreign country. I don't know that that's actually going to help. No, it's not really going to help. But the point is, it's like completely nuts. It looks like they're in a fucking foreign country. And this is the other thing. It's like I'm not defending this, or I'm not explaining this. I want to talk. I feel like talking. Hold on one second. What was I saying? It's okay. It's okay to like your country and like your people, your ethnicity even. Never let somebody try to tell you that you should be ashamed of who you are. as far as your cultural heritage and stuff. Now, obviously, as an American, I'm going to have my biases. There are certain regions around the world and certain religions that I want no parts of. I don't think I should. I don't want to interact with those people. I don't want to interact with their religion, and I don't think they should come here. But they also think the same thing about me if I go over to their countries. So it's a mutual feeling. Now, I'm not psychotic, and I'm not one of these people who thinks that they shouldn't exist. No, I think it's okay for you to exist in your country. You're allowed to do basically what you want in your country, as long as you're not affecting what I have going on in mine. Um, I also have the bias of being an American, where this is the world's premier superpower. So I get the luxury of imposing my will on smaller nations around the world. Like we dominate other nations around the world, and it's not fair. It's not fair to those other countries, and I think we probably shouldn't be nearly as involved as we are. But the fact of the matter is, reality is, we are an empire. America is an empire of sorts, and the question isn't so much you'll never get rid of empires. There'll always be an empire of some kind, right? The question should be, let's end not should you end the empire or how do we end the empire? The question should be, which empire do you want to be a part of? Do you want to be a member state of our empire? Would you like to be a vassal state of our empire, or a puppet state of our empire, or even the worst one of our enemy nations that we're at war with, and we're just going to take your shit. We're going to bomb you and take your shit. Which one do you want to be? Now, that's really harsh, and that sucks, and it sucks if you're on the receiving end of that. But unfortunately, this is the way the world has always worked. And would you rather be under the thumb of Russia or China, or the United States, where we at least try to give you some kind of decency? We try to give you some kind of benefit from the empire. I mean, that's up for you to decide. Hmm. I'm looking at my work phone, sorry. Okay, I think I said everything I needed to say on this topic. I really think I did. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns? Do you want to cuss me out? Do you want to give me praise? Do you want to say fuck you? Do you want to hit that like button? I mean, any of that is acceptable. It's not going to hurt my feelings. But the best part about it is, you absolutely should interact in some way. If you don't like what I'm saying, hit the thumbs down and tell me I suck. That's fine. This format is not my normal format. I'm clearly mobile right now. And I typically am sitting at my home studio. And yeah, I have better visuals. Obviously, I can do all kinds of stuff on my computer that I can't do on my phone. So, but yeah. Anyone got anything for me before I leave here? Hmm. Every time I open the internet up, I'm reminded yet again at how low IQ and hyper emotional people are. Mm, mm, mm. I don't even want to get into this, and I'm looking at Nick Fuentes stuff. He says wild stuff, and he does this thing where he will say something really crazy and wild and then be like, y'all are not ready for this conversation. And then he kind of like crop dusts the issue. It's like, dude, you have your own platform. You could literally say whatever you want as long as you're not actively breaking the law by calling for people to die or whatever, or for other people to kill people in your direction. You can say whatever you want. He's not on YouTube or any of that. Um, and he says this crazy stuff, and then again, he crop dusts it, and he's not even like he has this thing with like I'm looking at it. I'm not going to play it, but he's basically talking about the age of consent, and if you know anything about Nick Fuentes, he made some really sketch comments about underage people being hot or sexy, or that he thinks it should be illegal for. I don't know if he gave an age down to 14, but I think he has. I could be wrong. Again, I think so. I don't know that that's accurate. But if I remember correctly, he said something to the effect of he thinks you should be able to have sex with 14-year-olds as an adult, um, because of historical context. Um, I, I don't even want to talk about that. Like, obviously, we're in a different era. This isn't back in the day. Hey, Miss Red Badger, how are you? I haven't seen you in a long time. What's going on in your life? Um, but yeah, Nick Fuentes, he's not my cup of tea, obviously, man. I have no. He just says crazy stuff. He wants a Catholic monarchy, basically. He wants a theocratic monarchy that is Catholic ran, um, and like go hardcore Catholicism, where Catholic doctrine and law rules the world, or well, rules the land. He's basically a Catholic extremist version of Muslims, of Islamists. I mean, that's Nick Fuentes. And this is the thing, is like I don't think people understand what they are asking for when they support people like him. When he gets old enough to run for a significant public office, that's going to mean a damn. Um, and he gets into power. Like again, people don't know what they're asking for. Give me one more second. You said you're old. Y'all youngins are killing me. Hey, listen. Um, I'm not nearly as young. I consider myself middle aged at 39. I don't know. I think it was older people, people in their third quarter of their life that said like 50s, 55 is middle age. I'm like, no, no, it's literally not. You're in your third quarter of your life. Middle age is halfway point of your life. Halfway point of your life is like 40 if you're lucky. And I'm 39, so that makes me middle age. But yes, the youngins are acting up. Give me one second. Doing a work thing. But let's see. Fiery Waco. Haven't seen you either. Damn, like all the old heads are coming in today. Hello, welcome. Yeah, it's one of these things. Like it's getting so bad in certain aspects. Some things are better, like technology's great, and all these other things are great. Life is good as far as my personal life. I will say that on one aspect of my personal life, while I'm doing better than I have in the past financially, like most people don't want to talk about this shit, especially your own personal stuff, but financially, I'm looking at the numbers and I'm like, this is kind of concerning. And I'm not asking for money or anything because obviously I don't make money off of this. I do this for fun. But I'm looking at the numbers and I'm like, the math isn't mathing. So, and I'm making the most money I ever made in my entire life, like with my job. Um, my spouse is making good money, and I'm just like, okay, so yeah. So I was gonna do a video. It's on my agenda. Yesterday, I saw this video, and I'm just like, it's insane. If you did not know, if you did not know, the poverty line in America, the true number now is about $140,000 a year. If you make less than $140,000 a year, you are considered impoverished. Now, that's not the official number because the official number is it's like 35,000. It's been stuck on that since what, the 50s or something. It's something ridiculous. Like they have not updated that. But when you adjust it for all modern costs and all modern costs of like insurance and car payments and your mortgages and your medical costs and insurance and all these other things, it's like 140,000 is the minimum for you to become middle class. So I'm like, cool, cool, cool. I thought I was doing really well. I'm not quite doing as well as I thought I was doing. It's kind of sad for our economy. Miss Red Badger says, I'm loving the eyes on Mini Me. I have waited for 30 years for people catching on to Commie Town. Wait, what? Mimi. Eyes on Mimi. Minnesota? Minneapolis? What are you talking about? The Eyes on Mimi? Minneapolis, Minnesota? Is that what you're talking about? So, but yeah, I mean, you're looking at the economy, and I'm like, man, this is crazy. Like everything is like jacked up. All economic metrics are jacked up except the stock market. Stock market is the highest it's ever been, so the economy's great. It's like, come on, man. Like I bought like $200 of stocks, and I saw like a 20% increase or something like that. And it's nothing, right? I bought like stock in Walmart and Target because it was Christmas, and obviously the stock's going to go up. And I made like 20, like what did I make? No, it was 10%. I made like $20, and I just sold it. I was just like, I don't even care. I just sold it. It's like, cool. I made money in the stock market. It's like, okay, yeah, well, I don't have thousands of dollars to make any real money, but yeah, I mean, if you throw money, if you have money, you can build money. If you don't have money, then you can't. So you're talking about Minnesota, Minneapolis. Okay, you're fine. Yeah, there's a lot of places where we need eyes on things. It's really any major city. Yeah, the scams are. Yeah, the scams are. It's sad. It's really sad. Let me see. My phone is getting a little low on power. Can I? I'll just hold it. I mean, I don't know. I know that I'm not the first to say it, but if you think Minnesota's bad, well, Commie Central is California and New York. It has to be worse. It just has to be. They've been entrenched for like 80 years. Chicago, Illinois. It has to be. What is this? This was 24 hours ago. Stephen Miller said This is clearly an insurgency against. I'll just play it.
Words and hear their own words and judge their own conduct. To understand that this is clearly an insurgency against the federal government. They are describing the federal government as an occupying force. Just think about that for a second. The federal government is responsible for the administration of federal law, the administration of federal benefits, the administration of federal resources, the administration of federal immigration enforcement in all 50 states. Right? The federal government, whether it's providing the funding for our entitlement and our safety net programs, whether it is providing security at our airports and our ports of entry, whether it is maintaining the safety and security of our roads, our transportation, our bridges, and of course, the federal government has sole jurisdiction and authority over immigration law because we have one national immigration law. We do not have. We have one national currency, we have one national flag, we have one national constitution, we have one national immigration law. If you were to permit individual cities and states to ratify their own immigration laws for themselves, then you wouldn't have a republic and you wouldn't have a country. And that's the proposition that Fry and Ellison and Waltz are trying to test. They are asserting that they have the unfettered right to harbor aliens who have no right to be in this country and to effectively, in fact, to incite violent insurrection from organized agitators against federal forces to prevent those federal forces from effectuating duly enacted immigration law.
No, it was Stephen Miller.
This was 24 hours ago.
That was Stephen Miller. Oh man, it's like this is crazy. I was talking to a couple people and some peers and former business coworker, whatever, subordinate who is 70-ish, significantly older than me. So I was getting different people's views on this stuff, this whole immigration and DHS and ICE thing. And it's just really interesting hearing people's views on this. Some are saying like ICE is breaking the law, and we went through a couple of examples and analyzed it. And I had a 4-hour conversation with this gentleman yesterday, and yeah, I mean, we looked at it. I'm like, yeah, I mean, that looks like they broke the law here, and that looked like that was wrong there. That was a violation there, but overall, the general consensus was, okay, well, just because they did things wrong here, well, what about the rest of it? Okay, well, they have a mandate to enforce federal law, and then they're being blocked by these people who are being supported by the local and state government to continue blocking the feds. What do you do? Well, and that's, Insurrection Act. And you're saying New York, Miss Red Badger says New York is the brain of the monster, Cali is the legs, and Minnesota is the heart of the beast. And what is Chicago, or what is Illinois? Illinois. Illinois is the colon, the colon of the beast. Who likes Chicago anyway? Like, oh, come on, gross. Anyway, Fire Wake, I'm from Texas. We've been occupied longer than them. Damn. Yeah, occupied since 1865. The Lone Star State. They've been occupying your wallet. Man, don't even get me started on taxes. It's so frustrating. It's so incredibly frustrating. Especially when you're voting to have taxes lowered. You're voting for the taxes to get lowered or go away. You're voting against a lot of these welfare programs and things. You want your taxes to not pay for these things. And then they're forcing you with your own money. They're taking your money by force and you spending it on things you are fundamentally against. It is the biggest slap in the face ever. It is. I'm telling. Taxation is theft. Like it is not black pilled. I hate it. I hate taxes so much. I really do. I understand that to have a functioning society, you have to have money. Like you're gonna have to have some kind of resources that feeds into that system. But I'm like, come on, man. Like this is crazy. Like I think the last time I did my taxes last year, oh God, we're coming up on that again. It was something like 30. It was between 32 and 35% were my taxes. And this is counting local, state, and federal. Like everything all together was about 30, between 32 and 35. It's like like what are you supposed to do with that, man? That's crazy. The other problem too is as your money increases, like if you increase money, like let's say I get successful, I get a better job, or for whatever reason, YouTube decides to stop, being a dickhead to me and actually boost me in the algorithm, you know, and actually start making some money, like serious money, then I'll get penalized for that. I'll get taxed more. And if I don't make above about 140,000, that's out of the valley of death. So right now I'm in the valley of death where I don't qualify for any public assistance, but I'm getting hammered. This is like the middle class where we get hammered with all these taxes and everything. Poor people get all of these free benefits and all these other things, and they live more luxurious lives than I do. Then you have rich people who, again, they know all the tax loopholes and they live luxurious lives because they're rich. And it's like the middle class is the one that's carrying, holding up the whole system. It's really annoying. But I think things will change. Things are changing. Trump will invoke the Insurrection Act. Trump is not the end all be all, mind you. He's not going to solve all of our problems, right? He's starting to steer the ship in the direction that we should be going. And then we're going to have a strong replacement. Because let's be real, let's be honest. Anyone who sees him on TV or on Twitter or whatever recently, he's getting tired. He's getting sleepy. His energy is starting to go away. He's like an 80-year-old man. Like, what do he can't do this forever. Um, and you're going to have a younger, more vibrant replacement, somebody who has the energy and the willpower to power through this and just keep going, finishing what he started. Honestly, I think Trump is actually pretty moderate on stuff. The Democrats will try to say that he's extreme. He's not. He's a 90s Democrat. Like nothing he's done has been really extreme. I'm extreme compared to Trump. What I want to do is extreme. He doesn't go nearly far enough. You know, I would be locking these people up. You got to lock them up. You got to lock them up. When people start realizing being crazy is not fashionable anymore, and there's consequences to your stuff, like you get locked up. Wait, what? Elon Omar's husband went from being worth $51,000 in 2023 to now being worth more than 30 million in just 2 years. In just 2 years, Brandon Hoskins. Yeah, that's yeah. We're yeah. Let's see who posted it. So one of my friends in Discord, they posted Polymarket. It said something like 60% chance that Trump will invoke the Insurrection Act. Like 60% is low, man. It should be 100%. Like if because he's all talk. He threatens and like, dude, why are you threatening? Just do it. What is he afraid of? Optics. He's afraid he's gonna look bad. He's also afraid because I'm sure he has advisors in his head. Oh well, if you do that, oh the rioters, it'll just get worse. It'll become nationwide riots if you do that. It's like, yeah, so what? You invoke the Insurrection Act, you federalize the National Guard where needed, and you actually empower the National Guard to stop crime. And you arrest them. And you hold them. Now, the problem with this whole scenario is you're going to need courts, prosecutors that will prosecute these people, and courts that will convict them. Um, this is the biggest challenge we're facing. So, what happens when society continues to break down and they just say, no, we're not going to jail these people. We're not going to jail the rioters and the people assaulting ICE and trying to kill ICE. We're just going to let them go. They're allowed to do it. Well, ICE was here doing things we didn't like, so it's fine. Well, what do we do then as a society? That's when we need to have stronger, more serious conversations because I don't know about y'all, but I liked the early 2000s, well, pre 9/11. I guess that was 2000. Um, we'll just say the 90s. I liked the 90s when I was a kid, where things made sense. Um, we can't ever go backwards, mind you, but what we can do is try to build a future that isn't completely unhinged. The Insurrection Act may be a big ask, looking for something else. I think there is a bigger, I don't want to call it a conspiracy, but there's something bigger at play here. Trump is intelligent, obviously. I think what's happening is they are intentionally letting it get to a point where they have to, you have to do something. Sorry, work phone. Fire Waco should be either local law enforcement start holding illegal aliens for ICE or then Insurrection Act. Well, I mean that's the thing is they're not. The ones that are in open rebellion are not. And what do you do? So I guess like well federally speaking, like you have the National Guard, you can have the National Guard assist with immigration stuff if we need to do that. Take them out of these sanctuary areas and do the process then out of state or out of city and state. That's fine. You can do that. The problem is when you have local citizens, what do you do then? How do you solve that problem? Because a lot of these laws that they're breaking are local. It's local. It's not federal. Um, like illegally protesting, generally speaking, is a civil. It's like a local matter. It's something that locally you deal with. It only becomes federal when they are, physically attacking ICE and stuff like that, or the federal agent interfering with their investigations and all that stuff. I guess the other question would be: is there a precedent that you can extradite, or you move those people out of state? If it's a federal crime, that means it's federal, right? Shouldn't they be able to take arrest these local rioters and then move them out of state and prosecute them in like Florida or something? Is that possible? I mean, it's federal law, right? They're breaking federal law. Would it matter? That's something that I need somebody to answer, like somebody with legal expertise, because if we can do that, that's the only way we're getting out of that. You're going to have to figure that out, because what's been happening is these people are being they're being arrested and charged, I mean, legitimately with these crimes, and then the local court system are just like, nope, dismissed, nope, we're going to let them out, because they're all Democrats, they're all helping each other. So you would need to figure out a way to stop that. I mean, it's insurrection, so how the enforcement angle of that is you're using enforcement, you're using force, you're using the police and military to stop it. Okay, but you also need the support from lawmakers, from the legislative branch. You also need support from the courts. But if they're not backing you up either, then how are you supposed to deal with this? I don't know, man. Obstruction and attacks are already happening. So what I'm saying is, there's not, obviously, you know this, not everybody is doing the same level of illegal protesting, or levels of crimes. You should be able to, um, again, it depends. But what do you do about the ones that are just giving material support, or tangential support on the ground? They're giving cover to the people doing the bigger crimes. I don't know. I mean, is this where you scoop the whole group up of rioters and violent protesters, and they all get charged with federal levels of conspiracy, and you just, I mean, I don't know, man. Just like the hundreds of thousands of people that rioted in 2020, why, and we never saw justice for that. What are we supposed to do? How do you fix that situation? How do you hold all these people at account? We don't have prisons for that. But if you, I mean, yeah, I mean, I do think we should triple our prison capacity, because we're gonna need it. We're gonna need it, but we can't physically house the millions of people that deserve to be in prison. That's the problem. I give material support to my own occupiers. They want something every year. That is correct. And it's one of those, I'm telling you, that is one of the most frustrating things, that you are forced, with the threat of violence, that you have to pay your hard earned money to fund things and causes and people that want you dead, literally want you dead. It's pretty rough. It's pretty rough. Let's see. Definitely thinking of options here. Brainstorming. I mean, I think there's a level of forgiveness that you after people are rioting and stuff, you just kind of let it go. That's every kind of major riot. Once the riot is broken up, for the most part, you're not going back and arresting everybody. You don't find everyone and arrest them. You just kind of can't. I think that you can try. I mean, look what they did for J6. Take care, Miss Red Badger, and yes, thank you so much. I am still remaining fairly positive about things. I won't. I'm not giving up. I refuse to give up on things. But yeah, I mean, we are living in some crazy dark times for sure. I mean, this is a weird world, and situation we're living in. But yeah. I'm very triggered by taxes. Yes, it's true. Because I know the math. I mean, the amount of money. If that's like $30,000. Yeah, I wish I made that much. It's 20. Trying to do the math in my head. It's 33%. Yeah, it's like upwards of $20,000 a year they take from me. I'm like, okay, so that's like paying off my car that's, paying off these repairs to my roof. Like, what, you pick one, pick something. Like, I need that money to pay off all these debts that I've accumulated now that I have a house. It's killing me. But let's see what else. What else? What else? What else? There's been a lot going on, man. A part of me wants to just sit here and stream and do content literally all day long, like 8 hours a day, every day. And I don't know that I would if I could independently do this. I don't know if I would do it that much, but I'm in this like weird spot where no, I have to work. I have to work, and most of the time I can't do this. Like I can't do this out in the field, and most of the time most people don't want to sit here and just listen to me talk. They want to see something. Like I'm showing you videos, we're talking, I'm reacting to videos, and I'm gaming, whatever it may be. And like I said, I can't do this most days. I'm just in a unique position today where I can kind of do this. I've gotten tons of video, and um, yeah, I'm in a good position. But yeah, I would like to do more stuff. There's so many different things I had videos queued up for, and they're no longer relevant anymore. So yeah, I didn't record them or stream them because there was no point. It's no longer relevant. I just run out of time. There's just so much, it's. I guess that's life. It's life. And I'm seeing a couple of my favorite, YouTubers and podcasters that, they have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and the money is drying up. The money is drying up on YouTube. It's drying up on, all kinds of platforms right now for political content. And, again, the economy sucks. So, who's gonna donate to you when they're struggling? Why would they? Of course not. But I don't know. How do I say this? I remain hopeful for the long term, whether I'm here or not. I'll say that. I think general society will be okay. I think people always endure no matter what happens. I think that yes, we are going to see harder times coming ahead, unfortunately, but at the end of the day, people will survive and endure. I think we will have once we get all of this extreme left wing nonsense out of our system, we'll come back to a more centered approach of logic and reason, and make things make sense again. I think that will come back. So I don't know. Anything else? Anything else before I go? Anything else going on before I go? Sorry, I'm reading some stuff. Mm, let's see. If I were you, wake up, I may be the only person keeping the economy going. I keep pumping my whole checking account into it. I know, man. You don't have to answer the specific question that I'm about to ask you, or just generally say, but I would imagine if I remember the tone and stuff of what you said before, that you're making like over 100,000, so um, you're probably right on that border of they are raping you in taxes, and you're not like profiting and saving up a shit ton of money. I hear you. Like I know how this is. It's rough, man. It's rough out there. And some days, yeah, I'm like, why am I doing this? Why do I continue to work my ass off year after year? I've been working since 2002, and I see so many people around me. Well, not anymore. I'm in a new area, but out of state. But you would see all these people who are they're working part-time, they're on food stamps, they are on some kind of welfare assistance, they have WIC for their kids and babies, and they get free health care and housing assistance and all these things. And they got PlayStation 5, they are walking around with Nikes and Jordans and Gucci and all of this stuff. And I'm just like, not that I want to wear any of that, but that's not the point. The point is, people live in luxury off of the backs of us because we're the ones working and paying all these taxes, and they're not. They get all these free benefits. It's very frustrating. Like, we have to stop this. Honestly, before I go on that, my last point would be we're gonna have to have a serious conversation about democracy in this country. Clearly, democracy does not work. Nobody actually wants democracy. They want their side to be in power. That's really it. They want their main political faction to be in power, and then maybe then I guess they would vote on who in their faction is in charge. That's it. They don't want their opposition voting. They don't believe in that. What the fuck was that? They don't believe in that. So it makes me think that we need to have a conversation about democracy again. This constitutional republic is failing, and I think in part, or the majority of why it's failing is because we've allowed multiculturalism. We've allowed extreme leftism to take over. When we didn't have all this, we were super strong. Any empire, any major civilization in history, look at it. They are strongest when they are unified with their own ethnic and religious culture. It's only when you start doing this multiculturalism that those empires start collapsing. Look at ancient Egypt. They had like six major different ethnicities from different ethnic groups in the region from their empire, and they started coming in and doing this immigration and all. It literally is the same issue. Look at Rome. They overexpanded and had all these foreigners coming in, and it weakened them severely, and they collapse. I mean, you just go through civilization after civilization, and you just look at these big ones collapsed because of Alexander the Great. Look at his empire. So many different empires, they've collapsed because of multiculturalism, and I think that's our problem. So anyway, I think I'm going to leave it there. I am going very long. Wow. We have gone very, very long. Okay. Checking some final things. All right. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching, if indeed you still are. And I will see you all next time.